Welcome to another episode of the Corner Store Podcast. I have my best friend of many years, Josh. Now, actually, I just met you like
less than a week ago.
Yeah,
Thursday, last Friday. We've been best friends for 4 days.
4 days.
Yeah,
and he's already on the podcast. Look at how this guy works. But we did APCA
or APCA.
What does that stand for?
It means it's the Association of Presenters in College Association or something like that.
Got it. Kind of like NAACP.
It's exactly, and it's NAACP except for white college kids.
Okay,
white
Josh,
liberal college kids.
Do you know
need
what
a voice?
NAACP?
I know exactly, but I can't. I don't think I know what it stands. Am I allowed to say it? I don't know what.
Can I say it? I mean,
you can say it.
It's like a 1940s term. Like nobody.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
It's so funny. It's
Yeah.
so funny. I have a funny story. When I worked in college, I used to work at a Enterprise rental car in college, and we used to drive cars, pick up cars, and we used to mainly wash cars, college kids. But then they would hire older guys to like drive the cars around, and they were like old, like really old, but they were cool.
Yeah,
cool. It was only two white guys. They were really old. One was all there. The other one, it was coming.
Yeah.
And he was just genuinely old. He used to call us colors and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, but like in a nice way, right?
Yeah, in a nice way, in the nicest way possible. And he's like, nobody got mad because like, dang it, he's almost 90.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yeah.
The color fellows out back, and I'm like,
yeah.
It was just funny, man.
He's like, they're out back, and I like them a lot, actually.
Old Buck, that was his name.
Old Buck, that's a good name.
Yeah, he was old, man. And it was like at least 10 years ago, so I know he's not.
I used to tell this joke about because I do like a lot of churches, right? And then any comedy show, someone will come up to you afterwards and tell you a joke, right?
Oh yeah.
And then or they come up and they want to talk about whatever's in the news. And so I was doing this church, and this guy just comes up to me out of nowhere and just goes, you know, Obama's a Muslim, right?
Really?
Church? At a church, obvious, of course, at a church. Have you met church people? And
did you have any jokes about Obama or anything to make
no,
him say
I think that was just what was happening, and I think I probably said
you just gave off like I voted for Obama.
Oh yeah, exactly, right.
Like, let me tell him the
Let me
truth.
tell you. And then so the joke I made after that, and it's not a great joke, but I was that like once someone says something like that, it never gets less racist.
Yeah.
Like if it
start off that time.
Yeah, it starts out right there, and no one's like, Obama's a Muslim, right? And that's good because we need varying opinions in America.
Nah.
It never gets less racist.
What state was this church in?
Missouri.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you do churches.
I do a lot of churches. This was, by the way, the same church that the same set I casually mentioned hemorrhoids, right?
Oh, okay.
Right,
Okay.
just in passing. And so after the show, the pastor, his name was Pastor Zach, comes up to me, giving my check. And, the thing where they hand it to you, and then you shake their hand, and then they just hold on to your hand like it's a
so
like
he
a
wants
thing.
to tell you something.
Yeah, and he goes, and so at the time I was living up in Des Moines, right? And he goes, I don't know how you liberals up in Iowa like to talk, but we don't appreciate that hemorrhoid discussions around here.
Wow. I mean, comedy's subjective though. Like I don't think people realize that.
It is very subjective.
It's like so just subjective, and the point of the joke is to get to the punchline, which is the crazy thing.
Yeah.
It's the crazy statement. Like I have a joke about like my daughter like stealing out the store, and then sometimes I get comments like on YouTube and stuff like that. People are like, I don't really appreciate he's teaching his daughter how to steal.
Yeah,
like, that's
and
the
then
funny part of the joke.
That's not the joke.
Like if I took her to the store and we went back to the store and she returned it, I'm just telling you a story. It's an exaggeration. Of course, I didn't teach her how to steal.
Yeah.
Like she already knew how to do it.
She already knew how to do it. I just perfected the technique.
I'm just nurturing her talent.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing.
You're a good dad.
That's
like,
what do you?
When
you saw Iverson do a crossover, would you shut that down? You just nurture.
Exactly. Yeah, like King Richard. He saw his daughters. He saw him playing tennis and was like, what I need?
Just nurture it.
Yeah, nurture
that's
the
all
gift.
I was doing, man. Speaking of churches, that's an interesting story because I had I'll go into detail later, but I had a job, and it was a call center job, and people will call in, and of course, some people with titles, they want you to address their title and their name. Like doctors, okay, I get it. You went to school for 15 years, blah blah blah. But it was the one guy he called. He was like I guess a pastor or something. It was like Father Michael, and he wanted me to address him over the phone like his father. I'm like, dude, I'm not calling you father.
Yeah.
Like, I'm my dad. Like, what are you? He's like, you need to address me, Father Michael. I'm like, Father, what? No, this is internet service. Do you want it? Like, no,
Yeah.
like
Address me. You need to call me Father Michael.
Yeah.
Okay, Father Michael. Your phone will get cut off if you don't make a payment.
This is somewhat creepy too. Like grown man telling me to call him. All right. Anyway, that's crazy.
No, that is always weird. You ever have that when someone's like, they'll be like, oh, my name is Dr. Joshua, and I want you to talk. And you go, oh, so you're like a medical doctor? No, I have a doctorate in I don't know, in plastic plants,
like
whatever.
Dr. Jill Biden.
Yeah.
Politics.
Yeah, let's get into politics before we.
You remember in the 80s, people can joke about politics. I remember Dennis Miller and all those people. It's like, but now it's like, I don't know about that, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
Where are you first of all?
Yeah.
Either you're gonna get a lot of clapping or you're gonna get a lot of like craziness. Like I didn't even get into politics. What did I did a ship, and I won't say what ship it was, but it was a lot of people from Texas on the ship.
Okay.
And I mentioned
Yeah.
that I live in California.
Of course.
Oh my gosh. You would have thought I was Obama. They
You're
literally
right.
took my head off. Why would you live there? Don't you California, I Texas? I'm like, man, sir, I'm just trying to tell jokes. Like, it's
Right.
not.
Yeah.
I don't know who. I voted for Kanye, so don't even worry about
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Like,
I love that. That's a great because that's how. So like when you get to know look at me, I am not like I don't
You're a
give
nice
off.
young man.
Yeah, I'm like a normal like right. I don't give off like right wing conservative like red flag for the most part, right?
Pink shorts, no, you don't.
And I got Lisa Frank Crocs on. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
like okay, so but however, pause. I have a large portion of my fan base happens to be right wing conservatives.
Really?
And it's because I do a lot of churches and they gravitate towards that. They go, oh, you're clean, you're funny, you do churches. This is what you're.
Got it. You're like one of the few that they can bring.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're also white.
And I'm also yeah.
Noticeably.
Thank you.
I don't think when you said that Missouri story, I was thinking in my mind, I'm clean. Can I go there? I don't know.
I mean, you could. Here's the thing: is that you can, and the way America is changing now, is that you can go there and you will do great. You'll crush it.
Okay.
But then afterwards, you're gonna have some very uncomfortable conversations with people who think that they're being nice to you.
That's crazy because he got mad. Well, not mad, but he made a mention of hemorrhoids, which is the medical term for it.
It is
which is something that happens to people.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is it's not dirty.
Yeah, it's not dirty.
Like something that so it's like, wow. If they're mentioning that, I can only imagine.
But then on that, so that's one side of the church. Market. On the other side, I've done other churches where. Like literally, I got off the stage and the pastor was like, "Man, we were hoping that you were gonna like really get into the stuff and like talk about get like real edgy." And I was like, "What is happening? I don't know what is happening."
Is so subjective, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy though, because I think if it's fun, anything can be funny. I think.
There's
certain things I wouldn't joke about. But that's just me. But I can't say what's not funny and not funny. What I may find funny, another person may not find funny.
Yeah.
But as long as that, I think a comedian is making the attempt to be funny, you should like give it some type of leeway because the goal is to get as close to the line as possible without crossing it. I think.
Yeah.
And sometimes you cross it because you're trying to get the closer you get, the funnier it is. But to each his own, I guess.
My whole thing is, how can I say what I want to say in a way that is digestible to people?
That's true.
That's just my career. I love a lot of other comics who are filthy, dirty. My favorite comedy. I don't know. Well, how long you been doing comedy?
Oh man,
20 years, something like that, right?
Something crazy like that.
I've been doing it for 13, 14 years now. My favorite comedy is unintentionally bad comedy.
Really? Like, what do you mean bad? Like, go up there like
you're
Andy
like
Kaufman type guy?
no, like go like not
Okay.
on, but like somebody that doesn't know that they're bad. Like open mic comedy, but like like that. The worst open micer is
That's what you
my
like?
there's something about it that is so
You
uncomfortable.
like the people who go up there and like they're doing bad and they don't realize it?
Correct.
Those people.
Yeah.
The people who live like in oblivion.
Yeah. That's my favorite comedy.
Really?
But like for a different reason, not because I think that it's actually like enjoyable, but because
I fascinate over that.
Yeah.
Though. How people could just literally do things in life and not realize what they're doing. Like,
yeah,
just live like, I don't know. That's a skill, I think.
it's like you watch someone go on stage and pull a sex toy out. I'm like, I'm all for this because whatever's gonna happen is bonkers.
I went to a show. This is like the worst show I went to ever. And I don't usually say that about shows or people because I'm trying to be a positive guy. But
Yeah,
it was the guy before the guy. This one guy was on stage, and I won't say the comedy club, but he obviously had like a dildo.
Oh yeah,
in his sweatpants. He had sweatpants. He was playing up this Italian stereotype, and he had the sweatpants. And his jokes were not funny, but he obviously had a dildo. He did not make any reference to this thing in his leg until the very last. And I'm like, nobody's listening to what you're saying because you're walking around with this in your pants. Like, you can't. And I think I learned that when I first started doing comedy. Like, you shouldn't wear things that distract from what you're saying. Like, wear a shirt that says, I like boobs. Something crazy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You shouldn't do stuff like that because whatever you're saying, people are not really paying attention. Like, it's like going on stage with your zipper down. Like, nobody's really going to pay attention to what you're saying. So, I don't know.
But I think on the other end of I do like it when someone goes up there with something bonkers on,
but they address it.
But they don't talk about it.
Don't?
Like okay, so like T.J. Miller obviously got canceled a couple years ago, right?
Oh, he did.
Oh yeah.
What did he get?
He was exposing himself to.
Oh,
you know how
Louis C.K. in it.
Yeah, he's Louis C.K. And I'm not. He's doing. I'm not sure what he's doing. He's still in the comedy
I'm sure.
thing, but he's not. But anyways, I think it was Omaha. I was over there. Yeah, it was Omaha Funny Bone. And he goes in the bathroom. He's got a suit on. He takes off his suit and he just soaks it in water. Just soaks his whole suit in water.
Are you serious?
And then he puts it back on and he goes on stage and he does this whole set, like a whole hour, with the soaking wet suit like dripping.
How did people receive that?
They were just like they were waiting for him to talk about it,
and he never.
And he never talked about it.
I'm sorry. That's odd.
It's exactly. That's
I don't even think that's. It could be funny to him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but me watching that was like.
See, so like he's one of the comics where like it's funny to him, and then to other comics where we're all like, "This is hilarious."
Yeah, because I'm just looking at that as somebody who's paying money to come to a show.
Yeah,
and I'm like, it's just odd.
Yeah,
it's just odd. So you do church comedy, you do you clean comedy. Is that something you focus on when you was coming up? Like, I'm gonna be clean. Or is that just something you fell into?
I kind of fell into it because I was, I started really getting churchy when I start a little bit like a couple months after I started doing comedy. And then, of course, your brain starts to work in a different way anyways, but, it was about I think it was like 3 years into when I started actually doing comedy that I decided that I wanted to do comedy full time. I said, this is what I want to do. From my career choice, and at some point in time, you have to go. Okay.
Is that when you started comedy? You made that decision, or you just like doing it as a hobby first?
I was just doing it as I was just trying it because like everybody else, like I went to a comedy show and it was terrible, and I was like, I'm funnier than them.
You're one of those people.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Those people are usually drunk in the front, but
yeah. But in my defense, it was like a local comedy show, and then I was watching them, and I was like, oh, they can if they can, I can at least try this.
Okay.
So I go and I wrote a bunch of jokes and prepared, and then went out and tried it, and but about 3 years in, I decided that I wanted to pursue this, and I knew that the jokes I had were not worthy of a paid audience.
Got it.
And so
that's very cool of you.
Yeah.
Most people don't
do this.
This is my art. I'm an artist.
I'm an artist. So what I did, I took all the jokes. I threw them all away.
Okay.
And I started over.
Okay.
And so I think at 3 years, I think probably had maybe 25 minutes total. And I just threw it all away. So I think it's because I think I was watching something with, I think it was Jerry Seinfeld, where he did the same thing. He said it was about 3 or 4 years in, and he knew that he wanted to do it as a career. He said, but the jokes he was using were not of the caliber of a person that should be paid to do comedy.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, because like a lot of people don't see that. They're like, you don't like my dildo joke. I mean, you can kick rocks. So like,
yeah, you don't like my dildo joke? Well, Sister Anne Marie,
yeah, it's like,
hop on out.
Some people, I don't know, man. So you kind of you realize you wanted to do it. Did you take into account that to be clean, it will help you get along further, or you just want it to be clean?
I wanted to be clean, but also for me, it's so much funner for me to say what I want to say, but in a way that is, like I said, that is digestible and palatable. So like you can talk. The thing about being clean is like you can pretty much talk about anything. Whatever you want to talk about. And of course, there's church clean, there's club clean. You know, church clean you can't talk about. Sex, drugs, rock and roll. You know, but comedy clean, club clean, you can talk about whatever you want to, as long as it doesn't have the curse words in there. Or you get explicit,
and
the graphic things,
details.
So I found that especially comedy clubs, you can, if you want to talk about something, if you just sort of beat around the bush the whole time, and then people piece it together in their heads, it's so much more of a reaction than if you just come out and say it.
Okay, that makes sense. And I do clean too, just because when I was starting out in comedy, the headliners that would come in, they wanted to be like the dirty one. And a lot of times if the MC is somebody at the beginning is like super dirty, it's kind of hard to come behind that and be clean. So they wanted to be that person, and then they also wanted to be the person that talks about whatever happened currently in the news. And I was in college, so it's like, oh, if you want to MC here, you gonna have to be clean.
Yeah,
and it was the only comedy
which
club
is normal.
in town.
That's normal for a lot of comedy clubs too, where like if you're gonna MC, you have to be clean.
Yeah, and it was the only comedy club there, and they're gonna pay me, and then I'm getting to do comedy. So I did that for 2 years, every other week for like 2 years.
And that was Comedy Zone in Tallahassee, right?
Yeah, for 2 years, every other week. So I just slowly like found like my voice, how to interact with people, and he was like paying people. So it was like, it wasn't an open mic with a bunch of comments. So and then every other week I had to at least try to attempt new things, because some people would come back and stuff like that. So I really like, credit that for like, and it was like, oh, if you be clean, you could be here. And then I found out being clean just move things along a lot
much
faster.
Quicker.
Like, I mean, if you're bit time, say whatever you want. But if you're trying to get into places, people are more likely to book you if you are like Leslie to defend, offend people.
Yeah.
So
and there's some places like I think it's still there, but I don't think she runs it anymore. But I think it's in St. Augustine, Jackie Knights, right? Like she zero dirtiness. Like you could not do anything any remotely dirty, or she would fire you. Headliner feature, she didn't care. Yeah, she would fire you.
Okay, wow. Okay, cool. I mean that I respect.
But they also knew, like the people going in would know, and she'd be like, "Listen, if you are, you don't work. If you're dirty on Friday, you don't work Saturday."
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. And then I think smarter comedy comes from being clean. Yeah. Because you can easily, be funny if you say like dirty things or like things that make people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I got a bit, there's automatically people going to chuckle at that. Exactly. Because this stuff that's based in, but if you can like be smart with it and be clean with it, I think that's also a plus. So, okay. So you clean comment.
Well, like, okay. So like on that same point. Okay. So, okay, I'm anyone who's listening to this probably has watched the old Bernie Mac at the Def Comedy Jam, right? When he goes, "I'm not scared of you, mother," and he said that because I'm blessed.
Yeah.
He doesn't come out and he doesn't say it. No. He says everything around it. If I unzip my pants, the whole place is gonna go black.
Bernie Mac was. Yeah, he was pretty good, man.
Yeah, so Bernie Mac, even though he cussed constantly, what he was he could say, he said so many things that you couldn't,
and it made it funnier.
And it made it so much funnier.
It made it funnier too, And you got to be a type of comedian to go up in that type of environment.
Yeah, right.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, he was a good guy because to go up there after, because you know the story, right?
Oh yeah, I know the
Yeah,
story. Yeah, like
okay.
everyone was getting booed and
Yeah,
heckled,
yeah.
and then
So
he goes up there.
yeah,
Can you imagine being the person that followed him though?
oh yeah, I always wonder about those people when the people who kill on Def Jam.
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, who was following? Because him
That's right.
and Chris Tucker, those are like one of the. I'm sure it's other people, I think, but I know for sure Bernie Mac and Chris Tucker were the two people that they asked to come back because they just slayed that much. Dave Chappelle was funny on there. They tried to clown him at first when he, because he had the little teeth sticking out.
Yeah.
Little hat.
Yeah. I'm Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. But it was funny. Jimmy Fox was funny. Man. I think, in my opinion, I saw Chris Rock on there. Chris Rock was like struggling.
Was he?
Yeah.
I mean, well, that was. Listen. Can we be fair? That was a long time. Like that. Yeah. He had probably only been doing comedy for 7-10 years at that point.
Yeah.
You know, he's not Chris. He wasn't Chris Rock yet.
That's true too. I listened to something on Amazon Prime about like the comic strip. There's a cool Chris Rock story. I don't know. Have you heard it?
Nuh-uh.
So, Chris Rock was at the comic strip, right, trying to get in, and just a normal comic like anybody else. And he actually had a show somewhere else, but he decided to stay there at the comic strip and hang out. And they never put him on. Like he never got on stage. The club owner just didn't think he was that good or whatever. However, he never got on stage. So one day he's hanging out randomly at this comic strip, and then Eddie Murphy walks in, right? And this is Eddie Murphy, that time super popular, and Eddie Murphy, got past there. Of course, Jerry Seinfeld got past there. So Eddie Murphy walks in. He goes to the back. He's watching the show. And he goes to the booker. He's like, "You guys don't have any like." Minorities, like you don't have any, like nobody, no women, no black, no
anybody.
So they're like scrambling, like, oh, we'll give me put. So they put Chris Rock up. Eddie Murphy saw him, and then that's how he got started.
It's amazing.
So yeah, that's how he got started. But before that, the club wasn't even messing with him, though.
Yeah,
it wasn't even messing with him. And then to piggyback off that, I have a because we were talking about the Comedy Zone.
Yeah.
It's a flyer that one of the people who own the Comedy Zone posted one time, and I saved it. It's this flyer about a Comedy Zone show, and it has this one comedian. It has Tommy Davidson. It has this one white guy, and it has Steve Harvey. Right, and it's like these are the shows we have. You bring in this flyer, you get to come in free.
Yeah.
And it was for Steve Harvey.
Wow.
Yeah, because it was. And I'm like, Steve Harvey's biggest one on the
flyer.
That's crazy.
I can't even imagine. Like, can you imagine right now? Someone's like, "Listen, take this flyer in."
Yeah.
And or can you imagine right now? They're papering the room for Steve Harvey.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy how comedy is, man.
I heard this one because this one's hearsay. Just so a lot of times I'll tell a story and I'll be like, "This is from me." Because I can verify it myself, but this one is hearsay.
Okay, all right.
Is that this is right at the time that Drew Carey, he goes on Carson, he does really well, and then he got the Drew Carey show, right? And then so my friend who was working with him beforehand, old guy, so like a few weeks before he got the show and then went out, they were in Atlantic City, right? Drew Carey got whatever the normal headliner pay was. I think it was like $1,500 for the weekend. Okay. And then he says like after it comes out, it's like 6-7 months later, he's in Las Vegas with him, and they do a show, and Drew Carey got paid $200,000, right?
Really?
And they're sitting in the backstage, and Drew Carey goes, that same set I did like 6 months ago for $200 a show. I just did $200,000 a show
after he got the
after he got his sitcom.
Wow. Okay. I mean,
that's how comedy is, man. You go, it's so weird.
And I know. And then you have problems with people on the outside because they don't understand why you driving X amount of miles and hours to do 5-10 minutes for $25 and stuff like that. Like either in comedy, you're either like. You're trying to figure it out, or you're super successful.
Yeah,
it's like really no middle ground. I don't think.
I feel like this is how I feel about my person. This is just my personal, and I feel like about this about you too, right?
Okay.
And there's like, of course, you talk when you see comics and they're bad comics, and you go, okay, well they're just a bad comic, and God bless them if they can make a living.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like me personally, you and a lot of other people, it's like I have a winning lottery ticket in my pocket. I just need someone to believe me.
That's true. No, I can definitely understand that. I tell people all the time, like, because there's 7 billion people on this planet. You just need a number of people just to see you.
Yeah.
And just be like, I'm willing to pay to go and see that person.
You pay your, like we call it paying your dues, yeah.
Yeah. And then I think with social media, too, has made it even easier to reach those people. Because, I don't know, I have, like, random people in random states that I never met that literally, like, love the mess out of me. I'm like, I just need, like, 10,000 of people like this. Like, people who never just saw content that I put up.
Yeah.
And they actually just rock with me, man. They send me messages and stuff like that. I never met these people. So, yeah. So, comedy like that is subjective, though. But, we're making it work.
Yeah, don't you feel that way, though? Like, sometimes you're just, like, walking around and like, don't you understand?
So
don't you understand? Come on, it's like I got $1 billion in my pocket. Just let me catch
see it. Have you always been funny, like in school, high school?
Yeah. So
class clown.
My dad was a pastor growing up.
Oh, okay, so you're a preacher's kid.
But we moved around like a lot. Like like a lot of people are like, oh, we moved around like whatever. Like it's like we were more like military brats. Where it was like every year.
Was military involved with that?
No. But like the same idea of every year or so, like you get moved around and stuff.
Got it. Okay.
And I just found when I was a kid, like if you're funny, you make friends really quickly.
Did people say that? Yeah. Okay. So did you win class clown in school? Or
no, never.
Were you known as the class guy?
I mean, I could have been. I don't know.
Okay. I wasn't that guy.
I
was shy.
I always had this was always my problem in school. Okay. Like I remember when I feel like we're about the same age, right?
Yeah, but we're not. Yeah, we're not
going to talk. We're not going to talk about it. I'm just saying we're about the same.
We're not going to say our ages.
Yeah. When I was a kid, and like Ace Ventura came out, right, and then everybody on the playground or at middle school, they were sitting there reciting things about Ace Ventura. They would say the lines, and then everyone would sit there and go, "Oh my! Did you hear Kevin? He's so funny because he said the thing." And then I was always like, "Yeah, but you didn't make that up. That's not you're not the funny person."
They just repeated something.
You just repeated. So even when I was a kid, I always wanted to be original. I always wanted to be like, I want you guys to laugh, but I want you to laugh at my jokes.
Okay, all right.
Which is like the dumbest thing for like a 7-year-old, you know.
I remember being in elementary school. We had those like regular jokes that they got circled around the playground. But yeah, class clown. I was not that. I still do kind of, but I had a huge gap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like Michael Strahan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was big. So I was really shy. I didn't really want to smile, let alone drawing attention to myself. Luckily, I got braces. But, it was a big gap. And then, kids are cruel. Kids are terrible.
Kids are mean.
I can say that because I have kids.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
They're terrible, man. I substituted one time. Oh, my gosh. I get traumatized just telling this story. I substituted in East LA. All right, automatically this story just sounds sounds like it's gonna go downhill. I don't know why they keep naming these schools after good people when it's bad kids. The school is called Jackie Robinson, and I'm put on blast.
Oh yeah.
Jackie, somebody who stood for I just want to get along. Like none of them these schools 50 Cent High or something like that.
Yeah.
Jackie Robinson, but. I don't know. The bell was letting out. So, kids get substitute any school. They say, oh, it's party time, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I'm the substitute. I try to be cool, down to earth. I'm not causing. You want to take out your phone? Honestly, I don't. As long as you're not causing problems, do you?
Yeah.
But this one girl, she got up. She tried to leave the class literally 10 minutes before the class bell was to ring. Mm-hmm. And I don't think you can do that. So she was trying to walk out the door. She didn't say anything. She just walked, and I stopped her. I tapped her on the boot. I like, ma'am, because I don't know their names. So I try to respect them.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say little girl, but I'm like, ma'am, even though she's little and a
Yeah.
girl, like, ma'am, bell hasn't rung yet. And one of her friends were already outside waiting for her in the hallway. And I was like, you got to at least stay in here until it's time for you to go. And she's like, why? We always do this. And I'm like, well, that's not what they told me at the office. Like, if you guys always did this, I mean, that's cool, but that's not. They gave me this paper and said, this is the bell schedule. Yeah. And her friend that wasn't even in the class, like, why are you being all extra? You should just let her go.
Yes.
And I said, little girl, no one's talking to you. Oh, my God. Why did I call this girl a little girl?
Little girl.
Yes. I mean, she's 16.
Uh-huh.
Little girl.
Yeah.
She's like, that's not my name. I was like, well, what is your name? And then she thought about it, because I was going to write it down and report it. She thought about it. She like, I'm not telling you my name. But she didn't say that. She like, and then she like, in this class, you old mother effing ugly A, mother N, mother ugly N. This girl went in on me, man. And I'm like, I just had to take it. It's the weirdest thing because I'm a grown man.
Yeah, and you just have to take it from
and you can't even say anything back. I just had to take it on the chin. This girl cursed me out so bad. So bad.
Really?
She called me, yes.
Like, I feel like if I was in your place, I would have just started bagging on her right back. And I would have gotten fired, obviously.
No, they told me to leave.
Okay.
They told me since it was all the game, but like, what can I even say? Like, oh my God, it was terrible. That girl called me ugly so bad, dude, that I went home and like for 15 minutes, I was in the mirror like, do I really look that bad? Did she see something that I didn't see? Like,
is this what children see in me?
She was so confident.
Yeah.
But no, man, kids could be bad, man. But
yeah, kids are mean.
So now this is why I want to do comedy, man. And I always was funny, and I always like it. So I went to a comedy show, trying to take a girl on a date. She didn't want to. I asked her out. She said no. And so I ended up taking a girl that was a friend of mine and I already bought the tickets. We went to go see D.L. Hughley.
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
In person. And it was one of the best times I had, man. I was like, oh, man, that's what I want to do. So when I went up to school, to college, they had a student showcase for comedy. If you want to do comedy, just, write your name down. And I got on stage, man. And it was cool. Like the very first thing I said, they laughed. And I was like, I just want to keep doing this. And then who doesn't want to talk for 45 minutes and make great money?
Yeah, right?
Like, and if you have the ability to do that, who doesn't want to do that? Yeah. So that's what I think.
That's what, when people are like, why do you want to do it? I'm like, because, well, one, I got to goof off for a living.
Yeah.
And two, I got to go, I got to, people pay me to travel to another place.
And you get to see places.
I get to see a place, and I get to make more money in 1 hour than you do the whole month.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I like comedy. People be like, but sometimes it trips me out. And I don't know if this does it for you when people, you hear other comedians usually post on social media. They say things like, "I just want to make the world laugh." And I just want to make the world feel good. I'm like,
no, you don't. No, you don't. Yeah, stop. Because here's the thing.
You want to make good money doing comedy. Like, to be honest.
And all that stuff is great because I work with like a lot of because doing churches, right?
Yeah.
I work with like a lot of recovery groups and like really sad things that But then you work with these things and you're like, oh, this is a whole different reason for doing comedy. But then I also found that if you start working with those groups and you don't really focus on the money, the money happens to come.
That's what they say. You can't. I don't think anybody gets into comedy for the money.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, I know a lot of people that try to, but they never stick. They never.
Once that first brick wall hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they look at. I think they look at a lot of comedians that seemingly look like they made it, like the Kevin Harts and the Joe Coys and all this stuff, but they don't know that those people have their own trials and struggles and being told no multiple times. I know
people from LA that Kevin Hart's manager, when he first moved to LA, he would sleep on couches, right? And so this one person was telling me the story about how he was sleeping on his couch, and everyone else would go out partying, right, or whatever, and then they'd be like, "Kevin, you want to go?" He's like, "No, I gotta." This is after, so like he would stay up until 1 a.m. or whatever, go to doing the Laugh Factory, doing the whatever, and then he would go home, and then they would say like they would be getting home from the bars at like 4, 5, 6 in the morning, and that's when Kevin Hart would wake up to start writing.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like that when you talk about like, oh, that dude works harder than anybody else.
That's true. That's true. No, I could definitely see that. I never heard that story, but I can definitely see that. And I noticed too, it's the people who definitely take it that type of mentality serious.
Yeah.
That usually get somewhere. Like when I started, I met, everybody knows him now, Roy Wood Jr. And he was still in school. But when I tell you that guy was dedicated to comedy, like dedicated.
Yeah.
Like this is what what I want to do. He was like into it. Like what you're saying, like the writing, the traveling, the taking it serious, the timing himself.
Yeah.
So, I'm not surprised at the success.
I can only I don't know how Tallahassee. Good Lord.
Tallahassee.
It's a good thing I'm a professional speaker. So I started in Gainesville.
Okay.
So University of Florida, right?
So Florida, all right.
Yeah. So
rivals.
Yeah, we're rivals. But we also shared like I don't think you were there, but like we would share like showcases and stuff. Like
Really?
my very first paid gig was at FSU, and I was hosting. I hosted. My friend JC was featuring, and then Steve Byrne was headlining.
Okay.
That was my very first paid gig ever.
Okay. All right.
And I was so nervous.
FSU?
Yeah, at FSU
Okay.
in the it was like a pub. It was like a little pub area type thing.
Okay.
You probably know exactly if I remember. Anyways, it was on campus. It was like a little pub and had like a stage and a little thing, and then you go outside.
Club Down Under. Or
Probably something like that.
Okay.
I was so nervous that I was like, when Steve came in, I was like, Mr. Byrne, how can I help you, Mr. And he was
Steve Burns.
Yeah, Steve Byrne.
Okay.
Right. And then he was just like looking at me. He was like, "What is wrong with you?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you?" But then, of course, now I look back and I'm like, okay, I'm where he was then.
Yeah.
And if someone and now it's when someone comes up and he goes, Mr. Novey, like,
just don't worry about it.
Just don't worry about it, man.
Nah, don't worry about it.
But okay. So I know FSU has put out some, or at least Tallahassee has put out some great comics. They really have. You guys have. I know. Well, one of them. I think he passed away. Hannibal, not Hannibal Buress, but it was another Hannibal.
Really?
Roy Wood was out of there, right?
Out of where?
Tallahassee, right?
I mean, he went to school in Tallahassee. He's from Alabama. You talking about out of Florida? Or
No, specifically out of Tallahassee.
I know what they talk about Bert Kreischer.
Bert came out of FSU, but then he went to Boston.
Okay.
Before he started. Anyway, so when I was in Gainesville, there's probably there's about 20 people doing comedy, and there's probably like a real hardcore about 10, 12 of us, and then out of that 10, 12, now I want to say 7 of us are professional comedians.
Really?
Yeah, which is like bonkers.
Okay.
So it's like me, JC Karias, Chris Cope, Ismail Lutfi.
Okay.
Who's the other guy? I'm missing so many, and if I get them wrong, and then and there's a couple. Oh, there's also a couple of them came. Somebody, and what? I'm like, what's her name? Well, what's her name now? She's a writer and director at SNL, and then you go. So like this is like you go. Oh, this is a very small group of people that we all work together, and like we like tried to be the best we could. And it's so weird to me to think that these like 1 in 1,000 comedians is professional, and we go out of a group of 20, 7 of us are professional comedians.
Well, were you guys like serious? Like
seriously, workshopping
like
every week, always doing stuff, always doing sketches, always writing, always doing.
And those are the people you see that usually do it. So I don't know when I was doing it. I don't know, man. It wasn't that many. It was just people just doing comedy, but it was just one comedy club. So it was just, it wasn't really popping like that. But I know when I moved to Tampa, Florida, I really got big into that comedy scene.
Yeah.
And was doing it there, and I still know some people from there.
Okay, because I can in my head I can think of 3 or 4 from Tallahassee that are perfect. Like, yeah, because I can't. So there's Andrew Duvall doesn't do it anymore, but he's gone. He's like a writer now. He's like he's an author. Lisa, what's her name? And then I said there's Roy Wood, Hannibal, not John Carlo. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a few, like Tallahassee put out like a few, that's how comedy is, and like I bet when they were like when I was in Gainesville, you were probably in Tampa, right?
Probably.
I was in Gainesville from 2010 to 13ish. To 13, 14?
No, I left Tampa.
Okay.
2010, I left. I went to North Carolina, and I kind of quit a little bit.
Okay, good. All right, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of quit, but but when I was down there, I was definitely in that Tampa scene. But Florida in general, they say, well, they don't say, they put out a lot of comedians that make it.
Yeah.
And Florida has that Florida Funnies contest.
Yeah,
and,
yeah. The funny,
Eric Myers.
Yeah, I knew Eric Myers, who passed away the most ironic way that we all thought. Nobody in his
van though.
Yeah, he got run over. But nobody that knew Eric Myers would have put that in his death pool. Like that's
really?
If you put like the way that because we all know he's funniest person in the world.
Yeah.
Drug addict, alcoholic, so many demons, right? And then all of a sudden when we got the news, we're like, hey, Eric got ran over by a van. I was like, I did not see that one coming. I didn't.
Yeah.
That was not expected.
Okay. Yeah, no, super funny guy. I met him I didn't know him, but I met him a couple of times, and this is how I knew he was really funny.
Yeah.
Because when I was in Tampa, and I think he was coming up there from wherever, I think it was Orlando or whatever he was from.
Yeah, Orlando.
To do a one-nighter.
Yeah.
And the wait staff was excited.
Yeah.
The wait staff like, oh man, Eric's coming. And I'm like, all right, let me see who this guy is.
Yeah.
And it was good.
Yeah,
It was good. It's the type of comedy that you see.
Yeah.
And then you want to go home and start writing.
Yeah.
There's only a couple of people I see that. I'm like, I need to go home.
Yeah.
I don't need to be hanging out. I need to work. Like, you see comedy that good, I'm like, I need to go home and work.
I need to go work on my act.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Eric was one of those where if he had stayed sober and really worked, because he'd been in and out of rehab his whole life, right?
Okay.
If he had stayed, I think he would have been he'd be selling out arenas right now.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it's how it is. You're.
But comedies are hard. I mean, it's hard because you see it's a lot of some disappointments sometimes in it, and sometimes it's like
all the time.
You don't get. I can't tell you the countless contests I didn't win that I thought I was gonna win, and how that mess up your psyche and stuff like that. Getting told no or sending out emails and getting told no and stuff like that.
I've got people. I would send out emails to get on big things that I really thought. Everyone goes, oh, you're a shoo-in. And then you said, I had one where this guy sent a thing back, was like, I don't like this joke. I don't like this joke.
Really?
This is stupid. And I was just like, you could have just said no.
Wow, this
is very recently too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really odd.
I'm not gonna say who it was or what it's for, but on air. But
no, don't do that. But that's really odd though, man. Because I get told the no's too as well. But
no's.
You just gotta roll it off your back, and then when people see when you do get stuff, they're like, "Oh man, da." But yeah, you should have seen before, I get told no's.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Or sometimes you get told no. Sometimes I've had it at huge things on both. Be like, I got told no in the morning and yes in the afternoon. Yeah. For 2 different projects on the same caliber of things, and then you're like, how
you just can't let it phase you.
Yeah,
because you gotta have a thick skin. Because sometimes you tell jokes and people don't laugh and they just stare. At you. So you have to have a thick skin to be in this game, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Well, did I tell you the story? I was in Florida. I was very new to comedy, 6 months in, and I did. It was a black church.
Okay.
And I got booed off stage.
They booed you at a black church?
One lady, I did 5 minutes, right? And by the way, I wasn't like, it wasn't dirty. I didn't say anything. Yeah. I was doing my thing, and this lady just hated me right off the, like, before, as soon as she saw me, she was just like, oh, right? And then I was like, whatever. And then
you're brave, man.
And then I go up there, and and she's in the middle. I remember I can in my head I can see her.
Oh, I'm sure.
Clear as that. Like she's in the pews, and I'm telling jokes. She's like, not funny, white boy.
Did you address her, or you just kept doing your jokes?
I was like, I'm sorry, ma'am. And I got frustrated towards the end.
Yeah.
And then like the pastor was like, you. I was like, and I did my 5, but then I definitely, like, as I was there, she's just like, but like really just letting me have it.
That's funny.
And that was the first time that I really like.
That's crazy.
And I was just like, this is where Jesus lives. This is where you're not supposed to boo me here.
Nah, man, that's cruel of her. So, Josh,
and she was the same girl that actually called you ugly. So it was callbacks. Anyways, all right.
Table turns.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? What do you have next coming up?
Oh, I actually have a couple of big things coming up next. So
Woo-hoo.
You can find me, of course, you can find me Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube's all under Josh Novey. It's all the same thing because there's only one of me.
Okay.
There's another guy, but he sucks. But
you mean that last name
with the name of Josh Novey? There's only one.
Really?
There's only one other guy.
And it's the comedian?
No.
Oh.
It's just in general.
Just in general.
Just
okay.
one
so
guy.
You're in a good market.
I'm good. Yeah. So there's another guy.
Novey. What type of last name is that? Is that?
It's Okay, boy, this is gonna open up a whole nother can of worms.
Well, we won't go into detail.
Okay,
it's
okay. So I don't know. It's the name itself is a shortened name from Czechoslovakia that came over.
Okay,
and then they shortened it to a more Americanized version. I'm not Czechoslovakian. My dad was adopted. But heritage-wise,
Czechoslovakia.
Not yeah. His name though is anyways.
Okay, no, because I don't think I ever heard that last name before.
Yeah. It's very Jewish. It's like a Jewish adjacent name.
Did you think about having like a comedy stage name, or you just like I'm just gonna rock my name and just go with it?
I thought about it because so like there's like a lot of dudes that will be like, my name's they'd be like, my name's Jason L or whatever like that. And then you go, you're not good.
Yeah.
And so anytime I see someone like. It's
kind of like E.L. Smith. I get it.
Yeah. No, but I always felt like and with the exception of like a couple of people like Earthquake, but Earthquake got it because they talked about that was the sound that people like when he whenever I worked in urban clubs, right?
No, let's be honest.
But then you have a comic that goes up there, and then you go, oh, what's his name? And he's like, my name's Strikingly Gorgeous Sizzle C. And then he goes up, and then he's bombs, and you go, and that's in my head. I'm like, that's.
I could tell the urbanness of a black show by how many people have stage names.
Yeah.
Of the show. Yeah. Like I see Larry David, I'm like, all right, this might be all right show. And when I see like Sizzle, the comedian, or I'd be like Pork Chops and Bacon. Yeah. I'm like, who is that? Like,
who you gonna go see? I'm gonna go watch Pork Chops and Gravy.
Yeah,
this is my favorite.
I'm like, I don't know about this.
And they all have a catchphrase.
Yeah.
But to put some gravy on it, and then.
That's funny.
But so follow me on all those things.
Okay.
In a couple of days, I'm flying out. I'm flying back to Florida. I'm filming a movie. I'm gonna be there for about a month.
Okay, dope.
Filming a movie, and I just picked up another movie filming in December.
In Florida too?
No, in West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all right.
So I'm gonna be gone for like a month. I'll come back for about I'll come back for Thanksgiving, and then I head back out.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Also, you're just packed.
Yeah.
All right.
And then along with all that stuff, then I got comedies, gigs splattered in between there. I actually have it in my contract so I can like go take off, go do the comedy, come back and film, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty crazy but then again,
life, man.
Again, you go, will this take me to the next level? Will it do nothing for me, or will it ruin my career? Which it's one of those three.
I don't think you're gonna ruin your career.
I don't know.
You're like a nice guy. So
a lot of N words in this movie. Which no, I'm kidding.
Quentin Tarantino film. Like,
it is. It's a Quentin Tarantino.
I think that's the only reason he hired Samuel Jackson, so he could just like, I'm just gonna rewrite all this in the script. I'm like, all right, Quentin. Cool, man. So thank you so much for doing this.
Man, I appreciate you.
This is the Corner Store Podcast, and we are out. Peace.